What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on the Soren Baker Show. Thank you for tuning in, for listening, downloading. Make sure you check us out every week on the Soren Baker Show, where downloads are available for this podcast. Check us out and stream us everywhere worldwide. We appreciate the support. And as you can tell already from the beginning of the show, we've been having a wide array of guests. And today we have another guest that I had the pleasure of meeting and being on a panel with recently at UCLA. And we had a lot of very interesting discussions, some of which we're going to talk about some similar things this evening, as well as his new project, Broken Cuffz Volume 2, which just came out recently and is available Spotify, wherever you listen to your music. Make sure to pick it up, listen to it, stream it, download it. We're going to get into a lot of stuff tonight. Have the pleasure of being joined by Doughboy.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Thank you for coming through. And he brought some people with him. Who else we got in the building?
Yeah, I got my brother Polly Rob in the building.
Peace and blessings is going on, local astronauts, man.
Yes,
brother Bat Drew in the back. He can yell in.
Yes. So with the break down this astronauts thing, man, it's a very interesting title, name for a company, for a movement, and what is that? And how did it come about?
So local astronauts is we're a collective.
Mm-hmm.
So we deal with music production, music and media production, creative, working with branding, modeling for different companies. And the title of the company is, local, as in, we all know somebody through knowing each other, through friends, or if you come to LA, you know how to get to the best eatery spots from the locals. You know how to get to the best places, the places you want to see from the locals.
Right.
But mentally, we're like astronauts. Our thought process is out of this world. So we want to do things, to explore other cultures, other natures, our culture, and just do something fly. Do something fly, just something outrageous. So that's what we're about. So that's how local astronauts work.
So Doughboy, how does this all tie into the Broken Cuffz Volume 2?
Well, Broken Cuffz Volume 2 is put out through local astronauts.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my brother, Rob, I basically go get the artists. I'm kind of like the free safety, like I'm back there roaming. I'm looking.
Getting your Ed Reed on?
Yeah, I'm getting my Ed Reed. I'm trying to find the one. I'm trying to find the hoe. I'm trying to find that right one. So I scout artists. From here, from Inglewood to Buffalo. I've been all over looking, searching.
You got Griselda on the album.
Come on, man. Shout out to Griselda, Machine Gun, and my boy Lord Flea.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Griselda affiliate. He's part of the family. Griselda family, but he has his own movement. But, man, that's what I do. I scout, then I bring him back. I bring him back to the dungeon. My brother in there cooking. You feel me?
Yeah, me and Badru, we really go in and, because our whole objective is to be able to give you something that's in your pocket as an artist,
mm-hmm.
but we want to challenge you at the same time. Give you something that you haven't seen before, and then your fans haven't endured just yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what made Broken Cuffz come together so solid. Is not only did the artists enjoy working with us as a team, but they got some game. They got some new flavors, new styles, working with an artist that they wouldn't normally, do a song with.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it came
like
together.
a Conway, for instance.
Right.
So how does he, and obviously he's at the top of the album, the project, so how and what do you guys think from a creative perspective that he brought different to, the majority of the artists are from the LA area?
Well,
and he's not.
The whole Griselda movement is, just embodied in hardcore lyricism.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike all the other artists a part of the album, he brings the real deal concept of what it takes to really get out, go from jail, go from hardships, try to find your way out, you know what I mean? And the record came together crazy because Doe put the play together to, we couldn't close the album without him. So Doe put the play together, got the verse in, and at first it was going to be just the intro,
right,
where it was we had the hook. Shout out to Washe. Washe's a phenomenal singer that we work with, local astronauts, and it was going to be an intro with just the hook and the and the verse, and then Badru was like, no. We have to turn this into the whole energy of what this project is, because that's what it came out to be. So we went back in there and we touched it up, had Washe come back in and do some touches, and magic came out of it. You know what I mean? And, you know, we called one of our good friends, Wacko, CEO Wacko, and he came and just put the talking points on there. And once again, another person who understands the concept of being incarcerated, coming out and finding his way through for the right reasons. You know what I mean? So that record came together and just kind of set the tone for everything that was on the project.
Right. The Broken Cuffz Volume 2, what was kind of the meaning and the purpose of having that as the title for the project?
Well, the meaning to me is something that I came up with. I wasn't incarcerated, but the meaning is just basic. Like, you got to break the cuffs off your mind before you break them off your wrist. So it's like a metaphor for thinking, you know, change of thinking. You know what I mean? So that's what I wanted to have, a project, but, you know, not just have with music, but also have a meaning tied to it. So I think that was like the perfect title for it.
Okay. And then as someone who has been incarcerated for an extended period of time, you know, there's been, from everything I've read, fortunately not having had that happen to me myself, but it seems as though the types of programs to help inmates have really either been eliminated, reduced, or are laughable from what I can tell as the evolution. From your experience, what did you see for like people that are trying to, you know, keep their nose clean, keep everything moving, and just do their time and get out? Like, what type of things did you experience?
Well, with me, man, I had a mind frame that I was gonna succeed. So my thing was by any means necessary, as far as positivity. You know what I mean? So, you know, if I gotta go down to this school, I gotta get financial aid. You know what I mean? I gotta do certain things that I know. You know, it might not have me in the flashiest things, but it's gonna have me cool to where I could sustain and keep pushing. You just gotta be able to do the things that you don't want to do. You feel me? And that's basically what worked for me. You feel me? Kind of stay. But to answer your question, as far as different programs, it's a lot of programs out there. But you will have to you gotta want to find them. You feel me? And that was the thing for me. Like, man, when they gave me those papers, as far as my parole agent, or when I got to the halfway house, I really looked at the papers and I really went down there and I talked to the people. So there are like resources, but you have to want to get them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And what, you know, I'm sure from knowing people, like, what are the different mentalities of why people don't want to take those steps?
Some dudes get like discouraged fast from my personal knowledge of seeing. Like, a lot of cats, like, they hear that first no. And then it kind of sends them into a tailspin, and they go right back into what they, you know, what's gonna say, the streets.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, it's about getting over that first no, then getting over that second no. You know what I mean? So a lot of cats, you know, hear that first one and they get discouraged. So, you know, but people getting discouraged though is probably like the biggest part of a lot of cats going back to that life. You know what I mean? You just gotta learn how to deal with that word no, for sure.
Gotcha. And like, was that something you understood before you went in, or was that something you had to learn during the process of getting back in society?
Well, you know, in prison, man, you hear the word no a lot. So, you know, getting out to the streets, hearing it really wasn't nothing, because I used to hear from the COs all the time. So, you know, me, I just mentally prepared myself. It's a lot of cats that did the same thing, but me, just throughout those 13 years, just kept mentally preparing myself for when that door opened.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's just, you know, basically how I got through it.
And you had told me before one of the dudes you had actually met was T.F, and he's on Broken Cuffz Volume 2 on several songs, and he's on one of my favorites, the Casino song.
Right. So
what was it about when you met him inside that made y'all kind of link up and be cool?
Well, strength, you know, because you know, in jail, you know, it's kind of like lines drawn in the sand. So, you know, it's like racially divided. So you kind of forced to be with, you know, because TF's a Crip and I'm a Blood, so you're kind of forced to be together because you'll need each other in there, because you never know what may pop off. Right. So just, you know, me working out, I'm like a workout hog, and he's a workout hog himself. So we used to be in the weight pile all the time. So every time it's yard time, he coming out to the weight pile with his gloves on, going to the dip bars. I'm coming out to the weight pile with my gloves on, going to the dip bars, and it was a nod, it's a dap, you know, then it was casual conversation. You know, we just built like that. Then eventually I I went on to another prison and he was released. So, you know, we kind of just built that just on some workout, just in the weight pile.
And then how did you guys connect once you got out?
Man, actually, I was noticing like the last maybe 2016, I noticed that he rapped. I mean, I got a hold of the Schoolboy video. So
okay, the Tookie Nose?
The Tookie Nose,
right.
Exactly, classic. But I got a hold of a mutual friend of ours, the homie Iceman, Ice Diddy. He was an artist at the time, but he was telling me like, oh yeah, man, I'm working with TF. So boom, so when I fast forward to when I got released, we ended up they had a studio session in North Hollywood. We met for the first time, or it might have been at the lab. Matter of fact, we came to the lab. Yeah. They ended up coming to the studio. Where we work at on San Vicente, and that's the first time I've seen him since we have been out, or since we was in prison together.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then with him, being that you knew him not as a rapper, but then you heard him as a rapper later after getting to know him, like what was it about his, his style or whatever that appealed to you?
Because it's real. You know what I mean? I know that everything that he say in his raps are real. You know what I mean? I know where it comes from because I seen him. What we say at our lowest point, you know what I mean, our rawest element. We don't have no jewelry on, we don't have no fancy clothes on that we can hide behind like it's just you. So I seen like the real him, so to hear it in his music, it only, and then he do it so swell, you know what I mean? So, it just instantly clicked because I know it's real.
And then as a producer, what did you notice about TF that made him stand out to you?
Well, for me, just on the music aspect, he has an orthodox style when it comes to, chopping up, lines.
And his phraseology is crazy.
Man, it's crazy. And then combine that with the squeaky voice Crip that you would see in the hood that's really on some scandalous. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. You know what I'm saying? For real. So, and it's like, one of my favorite songs from him is Professional Shit. You know what I mean? And he just embodies the whole aura of someone who is in the street life, but his ear is musically to other places as well. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying? And just me working with him, it's like, just those certain beats where it has that heavy tone, a lot of space in between it, but the melodies is melodic and the bass is hitting, and then you got this squeaky voice in between that, and he just spitting some real. You know what I'm saying? And I love it, man. And his music is dope, and we always cook it, man. We always cook it. So.
Yep. And then you also, as Doughboy and I had talked about other time, was I'm a big fan of Vince Staples, so we got Aston on here as well.
That's my guy, man.
So what is it about him that appealed to you to make you want to put him on Brooklyn?
Ashton, man, first, he's like a real genuine dude, just on like a personal level outside of rap. Like, he's a real genuine person. Like, when I first met him, he was like real, like, I'm new on the scene, basically.
Right.
I've been coming out of prison, but I'm pulling up with, shout out to my boy Worthy. That's how we met, but man, he just like a real genuine dude, so that's how we connected. I like to work with people that I really could connect with on a personal level too, if possible. I know everybody won't be like that, but just so happening the dudes I run across, it's been like that.
Right.
So with Ashton, man, we connected like that first, but the dude was just, he gassed, man. You feel me? He has an undeniable talent, and what I like about Ashton is he doesn't release a lot. Right. So when he do release, it's like real exclusive and it's real dope because he takes his time and really crafts his music.
Right.
So that's like the dopest thing I fuck with Ashton with.
And he's another one of those dudes that has a very particular unorthodox style, like a TF, with the squeaky voice too.
Right.
But his how he kind of accents things in his lines, I always thought is, I got familiar with him through Vince Staples stuff. Right. So it was just very intriguing and appealing, like him bringing it to the table. And the other thing about Broken Cuffz Volume 2 that I think is interesting is that, LA is so synonymous with gangster rap and it's gone through waves. And I think that people kind of always are thinking that it's about to die or it's about to fall off or whatever. But, just the dudes we've already talked about and other stuff we're going to talk about tonight is just a clear indication that it's not dead, it's not dying, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
So for you guys, both of you, why do you think gangster rap is still important in 2019?
Well, for me, just me becoming a outside fan, because originally from New York, so picking up on a lot of gangster rap. For me, it was always the fascination of how the lifestyle depicted what was really going on.
Right.
Nowadays, with a lot of social media, a lot more content, a lot more videos. Take for instance, TF's videos.
Right.
Very clear in the street life, but also artistic in the same form.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I love about, gangster music, is that, when you put it in an artistic form, you start to, really let people see how genuine, like, these people really are.
Right.
Like, even gangsters, like, people always assume that it's just like, oh, we're just going to be the hardest. But it's like, no, this comes from someone who didn't have a way out, that had to link up with other cats in their hood because they were trying to find compassion and loyalty and togetherness.
Right.
It comes from people who, are broken inside. Right. And I think those elements is what drives gangster rap to still exist, is because, man, a lot of them are broken on the side of being a gangster and the side of going through problems and situations with being in a community full of, gangster territory. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's still going to exist.
What about you, Doughboy?
Me personally, I feel is still needed, because we need the hood commentary. Like, we need the report. We need that's the CNN is gangster rap.
Right.
What's going on in the hood? Let me tune in to Whoop Whoop. Let me tune in to Perico. Perico gonna let you know. Let me tune in to Jay Worthy. You know what I mean? Let me tune in to TF. You know what I mean? Like, they letting you know what's going on, and you know what I mean, from a street level aspect, not from a way out in the burbs or really hanging. Like, Perico got a store on 112th and Broadway, so he's still, you know what I mean, in his hood.
Right.
So he's still connected. So, just that alone, just that and a bunch of other points alone, I feel that gangster rap is still needed, man, for that commentary, for sure.
Right. And with gangster rap, both creatively and in the streets, what role have you seen the music with how the gang members interact, or the gangs themselves interact? How has that evolved, would you say?
It's made it better, because music has squashed a lot of bridges that was up. There's a lot of artists that work with each other that maybe 10, 15 years ago it couldn't happen. So just with that alone, man, it's then open, and it has opened so many other tunnels. You know what I mean? YG and Nipsey. You know what I mean?
Right.
See those collabs and other collabs, down the line, and hopefully, it could be some more that might spring, that, these two gangs never get along, but these two artists can come together, and hopefully, I wouldn't say it'll end it, but maybe it'll subsided a little bit. So, so gangster rap has opened up a lot of bridges, or connected a lot of bridges that weren't there before.
Okay. Yeah, because I always find that interesting, like, when people do connect in that way, and we've seen it in prominent ways throughout the years, whether it was like Quick and Eazy-E working on Penthouse Players, or you had, West Side Connection, of course, and then
we was just watching West Side Slaughterhouse.
Classic
and
video.
We was like, and it's funny because I have like this love and hate for the West Side Connection. What love and hate
as a New Yorker, you mean?
Not
they have
who they are.
In New York.
Man, they was shitting on New York. It hurt. It hurt me, but at the same time, it was so dope.
No, so let me ask you this then: don't you think though what they said on all the critics in New York was true though?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of it, for sure. A lot of it, for sure. But the one part that I do want to say about a lot of people saying that East Coast don't play West Coast music, that was false. That was false.
That is false.
Now the radio aspect of it, I can understand that. I get that. But
the
streets would play.
Yeah,
they knew Snoop back and forth. I knew Snoop. I knew the Chronic. Back and forth. I knew Too Short back and forth. I knew Mac Mall. I knew it back and forth.
I think the thing is that, especially back then when we had magazines in particular, and we had radio, when we had video shows,
right.
I think the artists a lot of times are looking at it through the artist's perspective. Whereas like when we saw MC8 in a Wu-Tang video,
right,
or in an Old Dirty Bastard video, and the Old Dirty Bastard video.
He was on a remix.
And he was on a remix. Then we understand.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
We understand the artists didn't necessarily have the problem, but it was the writers, the program directors, the people that worked in the industry, not the artists. Because even, you know, if you look back on the Liquidation album, Diamond D worked with the Alcoholics on Coast to Coast, or Another Level was the name of the song, or Next Level. And then obviously Tupac had the One Nation album he was working on. LL Cool J on Bigger and Deffer worked with,
on the West Coast,
with Bobcat and DJ Pooh, the LA Posse, as they were known at the time. So I mean, it's been happening, and then of course Ice Cube worked with the Bomb Squad on America's Most Wanted. Sir Jinx worked with Cool G Rap. So I mean, it has always been happening.
Exactly.
But the challenge is, I think, is that that's the reality on like a ground level or street level, but the perception by the magazines always dissing artists from the South, from the West, or whatever. Then it's like, if you're not traveling and you're not from LA or Atlanta and you're not going to New York, you're not going to understand that the people actually like the Outkast. The people love West Side Connection. They love Ice Cube. But you don't see that if you don't actually go. But all you would see is the magazine.
That's why it's important to travel, man.
Exactly.
Really go soak up the culture in these different towns. Then you really get an understanding and the vibe of what's going on in the city. And if you go, you'll be surprised. Like you say, you hear West Coast records on the East Coast. You go, you go down south, you're gonna hear a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? You get it from both ends. So,
and then the best part about now, that's, you know, just to bring it, you know, fast forward, is that's the best thing about social media, is that you get to see those blends live and direct, not just in the music, but actually in the content, the YouTubes, you seeing different artists working with each other in the studio, vibing with each other, going to eat with each other. You know what I mean? Like you start to see that a lot, and I think that's one of the jewels of social media and content these days, is that we get to show a lot and show the diversity of what's going on. Like even with with the Casino record, Casino record, the beat is it's East Coast. You know what I mean? It's like, it's boom bap, samples, heavy samples. The first artist on there is T.Y., BG's son, from the Hot Boys.
Money.
You know what I'm saying? Cash Money. You know what I'm saying? Then you got Jay Worthy, you know what I mean, from Compton and Toronto. You know what I mean? Then
Vancouver.
You got
shout out to Vancouver.
Shout out to Vancouver. Then you got T.F. from L.A. It's Crip. So many different flavors and so many different styles on that one particular record. And you would only believe that exists if you see the content and you see how everything comes together. And that's the beauty of how we like to work on records. We like to set the bar to another level. You know what I mean? How would someone like AC Alone sound with like a Big Y? How would that come together? You feel what I'm saying? Like that's what, working together and working with these records, that's what it comes to. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing.
There it is. And then that's, clearly, at least partially from a production perspective of Doughboy, for you, for like the A&R or the free safety perspective, like what do you look for? How does that work for you to blend all these different things?
Well, far as especially with this, just look at the project. Like the project is a mixture of the whole region on one. So that's kind of what I wanted to do, man. Is kind of just come with like a melting pot in the sea. Like if we can put this artist with this artist, let's see if we can, kind of blend it and meld it and make it to what it came out to. So the important thing is to just try to bridge the gaps, man, and try to bring certain light on certain little, because I really feel like these areas that I went to, New Orleans and Buffalo and all these other spots that I flew to, like I really feel, the artists from there, and then I got a chance to really feel the essence of the environment. So, just the importance of able to paint the picture of bringing Buffalo with Inglewood, or bring New Orleans with Inglewood, or New Orleans with Buffalo. Just trying to mix it, man, and show like the beauty of hip hop. It's universal. Even though you over here, it's still ring the same over here. So that's the.
Yeah, and Casinos toward the end of the record, right. And then excuse me, Casinos toward the end of the record, and then another one toward the end of the record that I really like is the Allah You Akbar song.
Oh my gosh.
And that one is the one that, speaking of things we wouldn't expect, obviously with Islam and rap, it's usually more affiliated with the East Coast, other than, of course, Cam out here probably, and MC Ren, Ice Cube, but it's more known for the, dudes that are from New York. Right. So for you guys, why was it important to have that song title and to have that song in the project?
Well, me, because that's my faith and that's my religion. I'm a Muslim. Okay. But at the same time, I wanted to show that, like you say, it's over here, you got these artists that's highlighted for us in the Islam, and then, it's heavy on the East. But those cats are from New Orleans.
New Orleans.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's Muslim. I mean, it's Muslims all over the world, but it's Muslim brothers in New Orleans.
There's a billion, more than a billion.
Yeah, on everything that's spitting that, that's spitting Islam too. So, and these some two cats that I've been working with. I'm gonna do a whole lot of other things with them in the future. But, I wanted to highlight that, and it means a lot for us. Allah Akbar is God's the greatest. You know what I mean? I just want to be able to highlight that. Something positive and something that's for me. And also, I want to highlight for us those young cats out there in New Orleans that's really standing on their deen too.
So why do you think that religion, just the discussion in general of religion in rap, is not as prominent as it once was?
I would say that first off is a touchy subject,
right?
And we're in touchy times.
So very,
you know what I mean. So it's like, for that to deal with, adding your lifestyle, your religion lifestyle, a part of music, it raises a lot of questions where in this day and age, a lot of people like to debate. And sometimes they debate for the wrong reasons, just because they want to get a rise out of you, or, they feel like, this is my favorite artist, but I don't like that religion. People have to deal with that. Artists have to deal with that per se.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, and it's to each his own. You know what I mean? I still feel like, if I'm indulging myself in an artist, whatever your process and your lifestyle is, go for it. You know what I'm saying? Because my objective when I'm listening to your music is not just to enjoy it, but also to sometimes learn about who you are. You know what I mean? But I know it's a touchy subject for a lot of people. I mean, you can drop a napkin on the ground these days, and people are like, "Why you took the napkin? Why are you doing that?" Like, come on, man. Like, it's a lot to deal with. So I feel like artists just say, you know what, I'd rather not. I'd rather not even go down the road because I don't, rather not.
Yeah, Jesus Walks was big, man.
Right.
So, yeah, Jesus Walk was major. So I think it depends on how you do it, too.
So to that point, why do you think that song got so big?
I think it was the way, I believe that was, 2004?
For Kanye?
Was that 04, 03? So like the climate, I think it was like right after 9/11, we still going through all that transition as far as with the war and all that. So I think the way he delivered it, though, you know what I mean? I think the way he delivered it was dope. Like, it was a record that you could still rap to or you could still sing along. But he was talking about Jesus. So, I just think it's all about the delivery, too.
And it didn't, even though the terms of it, referenced a particular religion, but I think the concept of the actual song is just relative to whomever is your God,
right?
Is true and living. He walks. He's here to walk with you, to walk for you, or whatever it is. So I think that overall message, I think people kind of got. And it just made it relative to everybody. You know what I'm saying? It was a safe route for sure.
Yeah, he wasn't preaching from the pulpit, shall we say?
Right.
But I think one of the interesting things about it is Jesus Walks, in my opinion, showed that regardless of what you do, if you make good music and you make something that people, for whatever reason, can relate to,
mess with it.
They can mess with it, they'll embrace it, and then it can be huge. I mean, that was, the irony of a lot of this stuff is when we look at rap history, some of the most political, most active people as far as talking about social issues are the most popular rappers. I mean, it's been that way since basically the records became big, starting really with Curtis Blow, with These Are the Breaks. And, you know, and then we go on to the message soon thereafter. So it's like, and it's been that way basically ever since. So I always think that's kind of weird when people say like, oh, nobody wants to hear that stuff. I'm like, no, they really do. And time shows it again and again and again.
It's about stepping up to the challenge. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's some, like we talked about, there's some artists that are safe, and some of them just love to step up to the challenge. And let's see where this goes. You know what I mean? And I think
DMX too, though, as far as on the DMX
he had prayers on his albums, going 5 times platinum.
Major, man, crying every show.
Made me
I can't
cry.
go. Matter of fact, I'm going to see him. I know he's coming up at the House of Blues. I'm going to see him. So
very big thing, man. And you know, I think that's what hip hop is about anyway. Hip hop is a rebellious form of culture. You know what I'm saying? We started it, you know, doing stuff we wasn't supposed to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think, you know, carrying on that torch for whatever you do, whatever reason, you know what I mean, is what makes it so great. That's what makes greatness. You know what I mean? And we embody that for sure.
Absolutely. So now I know you did an unorthodox thing of putting out Volume 2 before Volume 1. What was the reasoning of doing that with Broken Cuffz?
Well, Volume 1 was put out originally in 2017, but it was just straight to SoundCloud. So it wasn't on no digital platform, nothing like that. So now that, you know, Part 2 is out, you know, the word is out, I think, you know, I could reintroduce 1.
Gotcha.
To show them, you know, and then get a backstory of how 1 was made. And I think that might give a little more allure to 2, hopefully.
And you gotta understand, like, this man put out Volume 1 in jail. In jail. Like, the release date, he's in there. The release party had like over 400 people all enjoying themselves.
Right.
He on his phone or doing whatever, calling everybody around us.
My boy had the phone. Shout out to McKinley Ave.
Shout out to McKinley.
My boy Chill had the phone like this.
You know,
I'm sitting there. It was at his studio actually.
Watts.
Yeah, that's my guy. That's my guy. I'm sitting there watching everybody partying in the back.
Okay.
And so just structuring the album like, yo, let's get this verse from this person, have him send it in, have him put this together, let's put the records, you know. He calling me constantly, calling McKinley, you know, putting everything together. He was moving
Lost
in
some
jail.
Cell phones and everything doing that.
His company started in jail, and that's the thing that, you know, goes back to what, you know, Doe was saying is, you know, you have to break the chain in your mind before you break it here. You know what I mean? Like, he really was determined. He had his business in jail. Started the music, started to put everything together. So it wasn't when I come out, I'm going to start to do this. It's like, no, I'm going to continue to do this when I'm out. You know what I mean? And making a transition for him coming out and being able to get right to the fire. You know what I mean? He came right to the studio. You know what I'm saying? Immediately.
Like Pac.
Yeah, and got straight to it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the, you know, best things, you know, from this project, you know, Part 2, is that Part 1 was put together regardless of the circumstances, and then it transfers over into this one as well. So we definitely are re-releasing that, you know, on Local Astronauts.
As you should.
No doubt.
And the mentality of it too, I think, is important for people to understand. Like, what were some of the pivotal moments for you to make that mental change of like, I got to do this regardless?
Man, just, you know, just looking at dudes die around you in prison. You know, I had a neighbor, man. This was like in 2008. Older cat, man. He been down 35 years. Ain't seen his parents. You know, his parents died when he was in there. His kids don't write him. And, you know, he end up just dying of natural causes. But I used to talk to him all the time, though. You know, just, what's up, OG? Oh, man, you know, man, I'm just pushing. You know, and I just, you know, just looking at cats like that, you know, I just didn't want that for myself, man. So I know that, man, it had to start in there, though. It couldn't start with me, okay, I'm going to play around in here, you know what I mean, and just get out and do it. Nah, it got to start here. So I got to get the books. I got to figure out how to do this shit, you know what I mean, from within first. So if I had to prove to myself, if I could do something and you know, something, I wasn't expecting no big impact, but if I could do something and it made a little ripple, I know I could do it. And you know, that's what that first one, it gave me the confidence for the second one, for sure.
Okay. And then why rap? Why not try to just get a job? Why not try to, like, a 9-to-5 or try to do something else?
Man, I asked myself that a million times.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's something I used to sit in the cell, man, like nights, I used to keep me up at night. You know what I mean? Like, man, just thinking, reading, thinking like, damn, man, am I really going to have some kind of impact in this game? Like, am I just foolish? Should I be trying to read up on how to put in solar panels or other things? You know what I mean? Why is this, this drive, this fire, why it won't subside and just let me do something easy? I can't answer that. I don't know. You feel me? It's just a fire on the inside.
So for you, what would you say you saw of the change of the music itself? Like, when you went in versus getting out, like, what are the main things you noticed that are different?
Well, for sure, how they put out music, for sure, because back then it was no. I went to jail before MySpace, so
okay.
I'm listening to CDs.
Right.
So now, I'm calling on the phone. They talking about iPods and MP3s, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Then they start coming in prison. So it's like, damn, this how they putting out music? Like, let's directly to this, and so it just, I'm like, man, it's easy. You feel me? Like, it's way easy now. Now you don't have to send it off, CDs off to get printed from Fontana right. And, the other little distribution outlets. Like, man, it's easy. So I was even more eager. I'm like, man, I could master this shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, I think just through the years seeing that, man, the change, I kind of stayed current for just, just reading the source and, reading autobiographies and different things I get my hands on, technology magazines, you know what I mean? So I kind of stayed up on it. So the shock, it wasn't really no shock too much for us when I came home, but man, just seeing how easy it was to put it out, man, that kind of encouraged me a little more.
And what was a book, like, for people out here listening, what was a good book that you would recommend that people should check out for whatever reason? But just... Man,
matter of fact, this man that gave me a book alone, he probably don't even remember this. Mm-hmm. This was maybe in 1999 or 2000, networking in the music business.
Networking in the music, yeah.
He gave me this book to read when I was on the streets. Mm-hmm. That shit just sat in the back of my car. So, when I decided to get back on it, that was the book. That was the book I asked my girl at the time to send me. Mm. So that book right there, because it just teaches you, the basics, give you the basics. Like, you read stuff, it's already in you, to me. Mm-hmm. Like, it just makes you aware of what's in you already. So that's one of the books. And then As a Man Thinketh, it's not even a music book. It's just a book based on about thinking, about manifesting your destiny, I should say. So that book, I believe, is William Allen. I think As a Man Thinketh is William Allen, and then I forgot the author of the networking and music business. But those are the books you could look up. But those are the ones that I read, though, that got me on my path.
And you mentioned thinking, which I think is very important, because I think a lot of people, as our society has changed and evolved, and everything is so fast, right. I think that in general people are just reacting all the time. Right. They're not taking a step back to think right. about what they're going to do or what have you. So, as you've grown and gotten older and learned more about life and stuff, how have you seen that taking a moment to think has changed your life?
Man, big time. Like, it's been a lot of situations since I've been out that if I didn't stop and think, I'll be sitting right back in them walls. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, thinking, I had a lot of years to think and to figure out how to think. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I know that thinking is 99% of everything. You know what I mean? The 1% is the action. Like, thinking is everything, man. So if you're able to think, catch yourself, able to think yourself out of situations, think yourself out of problems, as far as not bad situations, I want to say, like, right. manipulative things, but, just to use a conscious, righteous thinking, when in your everyday life. You know what I mean? That's the one thing that has been helping me, man, through my transition.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And then what was it about networking in the music business that you found was so captivating?
It's funny because at the time, I was actually a rapper at the time. And I think I still got lines. I still got a few. So my thing was always about progression, growth, trying to get to the next step. Okay. And at that point, I became a little bit frustrated with the producers and engineers that would help me create my music. So it just developed this pocket of me learning how to do everything, which is just that's me now. Like they call me Jimmy Neutron because it's like, yo, when it's time to get something done or figure out anything, yo, I'm here. You know what I mean? And my name is Polly, so that don't make it no better. It's like I do everything. So, but that was good. And like he said, it opened up my eyes to seeing certain things that I wasn't doing, how to open up the concept of trying to position yourself to be able to have a conversation to do anything great with somebody else. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Some people close themselves off. Like, I'm an artist, you know, I'm doing this, I'm in my pocket. Hopefully somebody invests in me. Hopefully somebody gives me a chance. Not understanding that there's ways to move about this industry to be able to, you know, network with people and for them to see that you are someone of value, which is the biggest case. It's about value. And that's what, you know, us at Local Astronauts, that's what we teach. We teach and we pride ourselves on being small, efficient, and have major value in the things that we do. Right. You know what I mean? So when I gave it to him, I gave it to him in the light of, because, you know, we've always talked about music. Like, we had conversations, you know, in our own rooms, you know, talking about music. Like, this is what we want to do. So what we're doing right here was a conversation we had years ago when we first became friends. So passing on that book to him, in my eyes, you know, now that I finally remember, since you told me, in my eyes, it was more so like I wasn't giving him the book for music. Mm-hmm. I was giving him the book for life. Okay. How to move. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was this, because, you know, he was in his lifestyle of what he was doing. Me, and I always been a music head. You know what I'm saying? So it was just about that. So, you know, it came together for the right reasons.
So did. I'm telling you, man. It's real shit.
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Well, Doughboy, Polly, appreciate you guys coming through. If you guys could each let everybody know how to find you on social media and where the best ways for them to pick up Broken Cuffz Volume 2. So, Doughboy, how can people find you?
Oh, you find me at Dough Networks on Instagram, DOUGH_networks. As soon as you get there, man, you click the link in my bio. The album is on all platforms. Mm-hmm. Just click the link. It's going to take you straight there, man.
And Polly, what's up?
First things first, Local Astronauts. Local Astronauts, spelled the correct way, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Type it in on Google, type it in on YouTube, Local Astronauts. And my personal handle is Yo Polly Rob What Up. It's long, but I'm going to spell it out. YOPOLYROBWHATUP. Don't judge me.
Long ass Instagram name.
There it is.
Go pick up that Broken Cuffz, man. All platforms. Broken Cuffz 2.
Volumes 1 and 2 now.
Right.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming through and showing support. And yeah, just appreciate all the insight and the stuff. And the album is really good. Thank you. I probably got like 6 or 7 favorites on there.
That's right.
So
that's a good thing.
Yes. It's a beautiful thing. Okay. So yeah, appreciate it, y'all. Doughboy and Polly in the building. I'm Soren Baker on the Soren Baker Show. Be sure to like, subscribe if you're watching it on Unique Access. And then if you're listening on Digital Soapbox Network, be sure to download, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.